Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining me today for the Vertical Response for Salesforce demo. My name is Jill, and I'm the Training and Education Manager here at Vertical Response. Today I'm going to take you through some of the things that you can do with your new VR account. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. First of all, this is what you're going to see once you log into your Salesforce account. You're going to see 3 new tabs once you've done the installation. VR email, which is where you're going to spend most of your time. This is where you're able to create an email, where you'll also be able to create a list based on the leads and contacts in your Salesforce account. You'll also see the VR postcard tab, and the VR postcard tab is for creating postcards. These are actual postcards sent through the USPS. These are not e-cards. So if you are interested in doing some direct mail marketing, we do have this available for you. And then the VR Statistics tab. And this is where you'll be able to see the information about your email. So once it's gone out, you're going to be able to see who's opening the email, who's clicking on links, all of that information. Plus, from this tab, you're able to update those same statistics back to the leads and contacts in your Salesforce account. And then anyone in Salesforce will be able to see the same stats. Now, in order to see the tabs in your Salesforce account, you do need to go through the installation. The easiest way to install it is to click on the drop-down menu up here and go to Add App Exchange Apps. That's going to bring up the App Exchange, and Vertical Response is always on the most popular tab. You can also do a search. When you do a search, you'll notice there's 2 different versions that come up. I just want to point out there's a specific version for anyone using Group Edition. If you are using Group, make sure you're installing the correct version. Otherwise, you'll see an error when you go to use it. You do need to be the Salesforce admin in order to pull up, or in order to do the installation. So if that isn't you, you just need to ask the person who is. You're not charged to do the install, so you can actually test out our program before there's any kind of charge involved. So again, once you've done the install, you'll see these 3 tabs. The VR email tab is where you're going to be able to do most of the things that you need to do for your email campaigns. First of all, you can create a new email here. You're also able to create a new list, and we're going to go over those in just a minute. You'll see the last 5 emails that have been sent out. So if you need to see more than just the last 5, you can click on View All or go to the VR Stats tab. This is just to give you an idea of how the last few emails you've done have performed. At the bottom are some resources, and I'm just going to go through a couple of them. First of all, the link that says Watch Demos brings up our help site. So once you've seen this demo, if you have any questions, if you don't remember how to put an image in your email or how to create a list, there are videos, which are like 2 minutes long, or text tutorials that you can watch on doing any of these. So that information is available to you all the time. The other thing I'm going to show you here is events. We do have an events tool. This will allow you to manage any kind of attendance that you have for an event that you're doing. And it doesn't really matter what type of event you're doing. If you're doing a conference, or if you're having a fundraiser, even if you're doing a party for your company and you just want to manage the number of people who are attending, you can use this tool for that. Basically, what the event tool is a template, and it will set up a page where people are going to be able to purchase or get tickets for whatever your event is. So you can add information about the event, information about your tickets, and you can give the tickets away for free if you want to, and then just manage the number of people who are going to be in attendance. You can also sell tickets, and if you're selling tickets, that's done through PayPal, so the money will go straight to you. It doesn't go to Vertical Response. You can add information about your event, and then once your event is live, you can share it on social media and also send emails through your Salesforce account. So the other thing I'm going to show you here in the resources section is the media library. The media library is where you're going to store images for your email campaigns. And you can upload your own images. Specifically, if you have a logo like I have here, you can upload that to use in your email. I would definitely encourage you to do that as well. Also, any images you want to use within the body of your email, you can use those as well. In order to upload an image, just go over here to this menu on the left-hand side, click Upload Image, and you'll be able to browse your computer for whatever images you want to upload. They do need to be saved as a JPEG or a GIF, and then just browse and upload, and we'll store them in your library. Now, if you know you want to use images, but you don't have one specifically in mind, we do have a gallery of images. It's found in the same menu here. And the gallery of images gives you 75,000 free images for you to use for your emails. We have them broken down into smaller categories to make it a little bit easier for you to find the information that you need. But you can also do a search. So I'm going to search for San Francisco. This is where Vertical Response is located. And this will bring back images that fall into that search. You'll have a couple pages. And then if you mouse over the thumbnails, you'll get a bigger view of what these images are going to look like. You'll notice there's also two different sizes here. Generally speaking, for your email, you're going to want to use the one that says small. The large one's a little big. If you're using it for like a banner at the top of the email, it would work. But otherwise, generally speaking, it's a little big for emails. We do have an image editing tool, and I'm going to show you that in just a minute. But you might as well start off with the smaller size if this is going to go within the body of the email. And there we go. Here is my image of the painted ladies in my library. Now, as I said, you can use our editing tool, and it doesn't matter where the image originated. Once it's in the library, you can use this tool. So you can upload your own image and still use the editing tool. Just click on the little pencil associated with your image, and that's going to pop up Pixlr. We partnered with Pixlr to give you these tools. There's a lot of things that you can do with this, and I'm not going to show you all of the different options that you have here, but I'm just going to point out a couple of them. So first of all, you can add text to your image. So if you'd like to put a caption at the bottom, or if you wanted to write something over the top, maybe you're having some kind of special promotion, you could do that over the top of your image. Under Adjustment, you'll find most of the tools most people need for editing their image. So if you wanted to crop your image, you can. I could probably cut out the city in the background there if I wanted to. You could rotate. So for example, if you upload an image from your camera and it's flipped in the wrong direction, you can use this to flip it the right way. And resize, and this is probably the one most people need to use for their emails. So I did select the small size to use for my body of my email, but it's still a little bit big. So I'm going to resize this. And the one thing to note here is this Keep Proportions box. This is going to allow you to change one side of your image while keeping the other side proportional to that. So it keeps your image from getting squished, and it's on by default. So I'm going to change the width, and you'll notice as I type in a new width, the height will change automatically for me. There we go. You can do as many of these as you like. Once you're done, you need to click Save in the top left corner, and then click Save. And this is going to add it into your library. Now, there's two options that are going to come up here. You get to choose if you want the image to overwrite the one that was originally there. So you only have one version, and that will be the edited one. Or you can save the edited version as a new image. So then you would have two. You would have the original one plus the one you edited. I only need one, so I'm just going to take that default there. And there's my image ready to go. So let's go back here to the VR Email tab. And let's take a look at how to set up a list using the leads and contacts from your Salesforce account. So first of all, I'm going to go ahead and click on New List. And three options come up. It does depend on the version of Salesforce if you're going to see 2 or 3 options on this page. But you can still use our system even if you only see 2. So first of all, everybody's going to have this option here. Create a new list of leads and contacts. Basically, you're going to set up a query, and our system's going to pull in the leads and contacts that fall into the parameters for the query that you set up. All of the accounts, all of the Salesforce accounts have this as an option. Now, depending on the version of Salesforce you have, you may or may not have campaigns. If you see the Campaigns tab up here, you'll be able to use campaigns as a mailing list in your VerticalResponse account. If you don't see this, it's fine. You're still going to have this option over here to create a list. What this is going to do is allow you to set up a campaign in Salesforce, run a report based on whatever criteria you want to use, attach this report to the campaign, and then you're going to bring that campaign over to VerticalResponse and use it as a mailing list. And I'll show you how to do both of those in just a minute. The third option on this page is an interesting one. This is import an external mailing list. And basically what you're going to do here is upload a list into VerticalResponse. There are two things you need to know about this option. First of all, it is uploading directly to VR, so you will not be creating any new leads or contacts in Salesforce. It is not going into Salesforce, it's just going to VerticalResponse. Secondly, if you mail to this list, you're going to see all the data under VR statistics, so you're going to see the opens, clicks, bounces, unsubscribes, all of that information. Since this list did not originate in Salesforce, you will not be able to update the data back to your leads and contacts. You will only see that on the VR Stats tab. This is actually something that a lot of people like to use. You might be thinking right now, why on earth would you have that as an option? But the reason is that if you're doing some kind of, again, an event, maybe you're having a summer picnic for the employees at your work, and you want to send email invitations, you can still use your VerticalResponse account to do that without impacting what's going on in your Salesforce account. So this will allow you to still use VR without having information stored in Salesforce. So the first thing I'm going to show you here is the query tool. So I'm going to create a new list of leads and contacts. And the first thing that comes up is selecting my data source. So here are the options: all leads, all contacts, all leads and contacts, my leads, my contacts, and my leads and contacts. So I'm going to go with all leads and contacts. And so now I have two sections to set up my query. First of all, this is leads, and the fields you have to use for your query are the standard fields that come with your Salesforce account. So these are the fields you'll see in the lead detail section that's at the top of the lead page when you're looking at a lead, plus any custom fields you've set up in that area as well. So we have VR employee in there as a custom field. You can also query by owner fields, and that's going to be the first thing I set up here for my query. And then I'm going to select the people I'm going to pull in here. Now you can continue to add as many parameters to the query as you like. So maybe I also want to pull in people who work at specific companies, and I can do that. I can continue to add more filters here as I need them, but as I add more filters, the more targeted my list is going to become. So you're going to be whittling down your whole group of leads and contacts into a more targeted list by adding more parameters to your search. Maybe I want to invite people who live in a certain area because I'm having a conference and I want them to come to my conference. So I could add information about the state that they live in. Again, you can continue to add as much information for creating your list as you like. The more you add, the smaller your list is going to be because it's going to be pulling specific people out. Setting up parameters for the contacts are the same. If you click on the drop-down, again, these are the standard fields that come with your Salesforce account. These are in the contact detail section at the top of the contact page. And again, any custom field you set up will be shown here as well. And since contacts are associated with accounts, you can also search on account level details and also owner fields. So my contacts, I'm going to set up my search to be the same as my leads. So I'm going to pull in my owner name here. And I'm going to also search by company. Now contacts, company name is usually under account name. So just make sure you set that up. Again, just like the leads, you can add more filters. And again, if I wanted to invite people in a certain region, I could do that as well. So I can match up my parameters for both my leads and contacts. Once I have these set up, ready to go, I'm going to go ahead and click Next Step. And that's going to bring up a page where I can choose the fields that I want to include in my mailing list. Now, by default, we're going to bring over the email address because, of course, you need an email address to send an email. But you can bring over any additional information you want in the list in your VerticalResponse account. So, for example, you can bring over your recipients' names. You could bring over the company names. You can even create a custom field here. So I'm going to create a custom field for my owner. And then check this box. Any of the boxes that you check here on the right-hand side will bring that data into the list in VerticalResponse. Any of the information in your list can be used to personalize your email. And you've probably seen this a lot in your own inbox. You'll get an email that has your first name in there. So it'll say, "Hi Bob" or "Hi Sally." If you want to do that with your own email, you need to bring over the first name field. So you have to select this little box. Or you can even bring over custom fields to merge in specific information that you would like to include in your email as well. And then our system will automatically pull this information into the email for you to personalize it with whatever data you want. And I'll show you how to set that up in a few minutes when I set up an email. Once you've selected the fields to include in your list, click Next. And that's going to bring up a preview page. And the preview page is going to show you a preview of how the query is working. So you're going to see up to 200 leads and 200 contacts on this page. Now, it's just a preview. If your list is larger than that, don't worry. We're just trying to give you an idea of how the search is working. If the search looks fine, go ahead and click Next, and we're going to finish creating the list for you. So if you have a list of like 40,000 records, we're not going to make you sit here and wait while we go through all of your leads and contacts to create that list for you. We're just going to give you a sample. If it looks good, we'll let you finish what you're doing and go on and do more stuff, make your email, and then when the email's ready to go, or when your list is ready to go, sorry, we'll send you an email and let you know. The other thing that's happening on this page is our system's looking at your leads and contacts to pull over data into the list. And one of the things you need to have, of course, is an email address for your recipients. The email address has to be in the standard email field that comes with your Salesforce account. You can't create a custom field to put the email address in. Our system just won't see it. It has to be in the standard field. Also, if you've been sending emails out through your Salesforce account, if anybody has unsubscribed and that email opt-out box is checked on the lead or contact record, our system will not bring over those addresses in the list. We're going to honor the unsubscribe that happened in the past, and we won't bring those addresses over. So there's actually a few things that are going on this page. But if the query looks fine, go ahead and click Next Step, and you're going to be able to save your list. And actually, you get a couple of choices here. You can just save the list. You could just save the query. So if this is something that you need to run on a regular basis, you can do that. Or you can save both of them. So I'm going to go ahead and give my list a name. You can call your list anything you like. Your recipients do not see the name of your mailing list. It's just for your reference so you know who or what addresses are contained in there. Now you do have another option on this page. Again, if you have the Campaigns tab in your account, you have the option of adding this query that you just ran to a campaign in Salesforce. What you would need to do in this case is set up the campaign, set it to active, so that means you have to check that little box that says active when you're creating a campaign, and then come in here and select whatever campaign it is, and you'll add that list to the campaign. I'm not going to do that, but it is possible for you to do that. You can also save the query, and I'm just going to call it June query. Again, if you wanted to be able to use this on a regular basis. So I'm going to click Create List and Save Query. There we go. They have both been saved. So let's go take a look at the lists. So So here is the mailing list that I created, June mailing list. Now you'll notice the list that I created is called Salesforce Mass Email. There are two different list types, Salesforce Mass Email and Salesforce Campaign. Depending on how you create your list, you'll have one of these tags. These list types update to two different places on the leads and contacts once the email's gone out. So it's important to know where you're going to see this data depending on how your list is created. So I'll show you that in a few minutes. Just keep in mind there's a Salesforce Mass Email list and a Salesforce Campaign list. So let's go back to the VR email tab. And let's go and create a new list with a campaign. So again, you have to have a campaigns tab. What would have already happened before this step is you will have set up a campaign, marked it as active, that's the only way our system can see it, run a report based on whatever criteria, attach that to the campaign, and now we're going to bring that over as a mailing list. So I'm going to click on Salesforce Campaign, and then you just need to click on the name of whatever campaign it is that you want to use. And our system's going to drop you into those same steps that we just went through on the previous list. So again, you can select whatever data you want to bring over, including any custom fields that you want to bring over, and then you're going to click Next Step. You'll see the preview, and then click Next Step and save the list. Now you notice on this particular campaign, I only have leads. There was only leads on this campaign, and there's only one column here. So it just depends on how you set up your list. My previous list had both leads and contacts on it because I had the two different ones that I set up for my query. So it just depends how you create your list, what you're going to see on these different steps. But the rest of the process here is exactly what we just saw. So you're going to click and see the preview and then save your list. So let's go back to the VR email tab. So we have an image to use in our email, and we've created a list. Let's go ahead and set up a new email. And this is going to drop you right into the workflow to set up, design, and send out your email. So this first step here, the setup step, is basically things required by the CAN-SPAM law. First of all, you need to give your email a name. And again, just like naming your list, this is just a reference for you. Your recipients do not see the name of your email. So you need to call it whatever will work best for you to know what data you have in there. Our system calls it the time and date. I'm sure you can come up with something more exciting than that. The next four boxes are the things required by CAN-SPAM. So let's go take a look at those. The first two here, the from label and subject line, are probably the two most important pieces in your email. The reason is because these are what get your recipients to open your email in the first place. So your from label needs to be the sender of the email. Generally speaking, that's going to be your company name. And you'll notice I have a company name in here already because up here under account information, up here in the top right, I have a company name already filled in, and our system will pull that in automatically. You can change this, but generally your recipients will recognize a company name a lot faster than a person's name. The subject line needs to be something kind of catchy to get your recipients to want to open it. The from label tells them who is sending the email, someone they know, hopefully, and the subject line tells them why they should open the email. So make it interesting. The CAN-SPAM law says that your subject line has to pertain to the content of your email. So you can't do anything tricky in the subject line to get people to open the email. It has to have something to do with what's going on in the email itself. Also, most email programs have a limit to the number of characters they're going to show. It's about 40 to 50 characters. So your subject line can't be too long either. So there's a lot going on here. I'm going to go ahead and type in something in here. You'll notice once I get to 50 characters, this turns red, just to let me know I should probably stop typing soon. Some people aren't going to be able to see all of that. At the bottom of the email, we add a footer, again with things that are required by law. First of all, you must have an unsubscribe mechanism in your email. Vertical Response is going to manage that for you. So if somebody clicks unsubscribe, it's going to be part of the reporting that you see in the stats tab. So when you're looking at that, you can see who's unsubscribed. Also, once your email's gone out and you click update, we will also update your lead and contact records if anyone is unsubscribed. So that email opt-out box will be checked once you update your stats back to Salesforce. So you're going to see this in both Vertical Response and Salesforce. You must have a valid postal address for the sender of the email, and the sender is your from label. Again, I already have this filled out here because up here at the top is a postal address in the account information section, and our system will pull that in as well. So what I would recommend is before you send out another email, go into the account information section, fill in your company name, fill in your postal address, and then most of the stuff on this page will be taken care of for you already, and you just need to spend a little time writing a great subject line. The very last box is a reply to address. That's just where we're going to send any responses to your email, so just make sure you put in the address of someone who will be happy to answer anything that might come up from your email. I'm going to click Next, and this is where you get to select which editor you're going to use to create your email. And there's a couple to choose from here. The Email Wizard is the one that we recommend. This is a basic templating system. So we have about 700 templates in our system. Then we have some drag and drop formatting to make some edits to them, and then a toolbar that works kind of like using Word, so it makes it easy to make some changes in there. And this is the one that I'm going to show you in just a minute. The Email Canvas is a more sophisticated version of the wizard. It has the same templates available. It has a toolbar, although the toolbar gives you more options. And this one also has access to the HTML code. So if you do know HTML, you can go in there and make changes. Excuse me. You can go in and make changes to it. If you don't know HTML, you don't have to go and look at it. You can just use the toolbar. Freeform is for advanced users, and the reason it's for advanced users is because this one does not have any templates. You're just going to write your own code and paste that in there, and our system will render it. Text only is just a plain text email, so it won't have any open tracking because there are no images in it. But we can track clicks on links. So if you do choose this option, make sure you put some links in there so you get some reporting. As Salesforce users, you get an extra option on this page. If you've already been sending emails out through your Salesforce account and you have a template that you've been using, you can use that template in your Vertical Response account. So click on Import a Salesforce template, and our system will pull those over for you. Now, your templates need to be stored in public folders. Our system will not look in your personal folder, and we will not look in the unfiled folder. But we will be able to pull them over as long as they're in a public folder. I'm not going to use that, so I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to go ahead and select Wizard and go to Next. And this is going to drop you into the templates. There are a lot to pick from, and so they're broken down into a variety of categories here. And then there's lots of them to choose from. So the one thing I would like to point out on the templates is think about what you're going to do with your email before you pick your template. So if you want your email to match something, like you want to match it to your website, or there's a brochure that you're going to send out and you want the email to match it, I would recommend using the fully editable templates. The templates all give you the option of making changes to them, but it depends on the different templates if you're going to be able to change everything or just parts of it. The ones that say fully editable, the only thing you really need to look at is the layout. And what I mean by the layout is this one, for example, has a narrow column on the left-hand side, and then most of the content is on the right. All the colors in the background and this picture of a light bulb can all be changed to something else. So none of this is something that you have to commit to. It isn't really built in there. You can do whatever you want with these. So this one has a narrow column on the right-hand side, and most of the text on the left. You don't have to keep the picture of the fire extinguisher. You can put something else in here. This is just kind of a layout that you can work with. This one has a text box at the top and then 2 columns underneath. So just look at the layout. Don't worry about the images if you're going to change everything anyway. If you don't want to spend the time to make changes to the whole template, that's fine. Just find one that you like. And I use this one a lot. So this one I can make some changes to, but I can't change everything in it. This picture of the books is built into the template. I can't change that. But I did select it from education, so I probably like books for some reason. So once you select your template, you can go ahead and start formatting it to the way you want it. And the way you do that is with the content blocks. Now, we already have content blocks built into the templates, and that's what this is here. All of these are content blocks. You can delete the ones we've put in there. Just click on the little red dot, and we'll pull those out. You can also grab these and pull them into another section. And you can also grab any of them from this menu over here to create your email. So you can just grab them and pull them over. We even have a horizontal line if you want to break up parts of your email to create different sections. Once the layout looks the way you want it to look, you can start adding your text. You can just type in here. If you've written your text outside of VerticalResponse, copy it and then click on Paste from Word, paste your text in here, and then click Add Content. That's going to pull out any unusual formatting that you can see if you write it in something like Word. Otherwise, using the toolbar works just like any text editing tool. I'm going to highlight that there. You can bold, italicize, underline, strike through. You can change the color of your text. You can change the alignment of your text. You can add bullets. You can change the size of your font and even your font style. Now, if there is a certain font style, size, or color that you want to use for your whole email, instead of highlighting all the different sections and clicking on all the drop downs, if you go to the top to where it says overall style, you can change that for the whole email. Body text will allow you to change your font for the whole email. Now all of my font is Georgia just with click of one drop down. You can change the size and you can change the color as well. And this little box brings up a color picker so you can pick any color you like for your text. The content box here is the background color in this template that I can change. So I only have one section on this one that I can change, but it varies based on the template, so definitely take a look at that. This is still a color picker, so I can select any color I want for my background. And there we go, I changed it. Now it kind of matches that pink book over there. Adding links are very easy. Just highlight the text that you want to use for your link, and then click on this little chain icon, and then type in your URL. Click submit, excuse me, click submit, and then our system, excuse me, our system will set it up as a link. So when your recipient gets the email, it'll look like a link. They can click on it and go do whatever you're trying to get them to do. And our system is going to track the clicks on those links, so it becomes part of the reporting for your email. You can also set up images to be clickable as well. So let's pretend this is something that's a nice image instead of that placeholder. I'm just going to click on it, click the same chain icon, type in whatever URL I want, and then click submit. And now my image is clickable. And most people know that they can click on an image, so give them that opportunity. So speaking of images, I have an image to put in here. These are placeholder images. Basically, we're saying, hey, here's a great spot to put a picture. But you don't have to listen to us. You can put your images anywhere that you want. You can even put it in just this plain text box if you want to. So I'm just going to click where I want my image to go. And now I'm going to click on the button that says Image in the toolbar. And I can go to my library and grab that picture of the painted ladies that I just put in there. This is going to add the image to my email. But first, there's going to be an image properties window that comes up here. There's a couple things to note on this page. First of all, you have another chance to resize your image. And just like using the Pixlr tool, this is keep proportions, wrong word there, keep proportions box, and it is also on by default. So again, I can change the width, and the height is changed for me automatically so my image doesn't get distorted. Alignment has to do with where the image sits in relation to the text. So right now I have no alignment, and my image just sort of floats there. I can select right. That's going to pull my image to the right, and then my text will wrap around it. I can move my image to the left, and then my text will wrap around that way. Now when I choose this option, you'll notice my text is running right into my image there, which makes it a little hard to read, and that is where spacing comes in. So you can add a little bit of space around your image to make it easier for your recipients to read. The last box on this page is alt text, and alt text is something that is pretty interesting. It was originally created for people with visual impairments who are using a screen reader so that they would know what the images were. The thing that happened is that when email programs started blocking images in emails by default, and hopefully you know most of them do that these days, instead of showing a broken image icon, they started to show alt text. So what this means is you can add a little more information for your recipients to see what's going on in your email before they've turned on the images. Something that will put something in there that will make them want to take an action, click on a link, go to your website, or at least turn on the images in your email. And then once the images are on, they don't see the alt text any longer. So I could put something like, click here for more great summer deals. And that might be something that my recipients find really compelling. I'm going to go ahead and click Save Image, and there is the picture. Now, I mentioned personalizing your email with the data from your list, and that's what this is right here. This is built into this template. This is going to pull in the first name field, and so my email will say, Hi Bob or Hi Sally. If I don't have a first name for everybody in my list, there is a default value that you can set up so that there isn't a blank spot there. Now, in this case, having hi is probably okay. But if I was merging in something specific into my email in the middle of a sentence, I would want to avoid having a big blank spot. So to do that, to add a field from your list, click where you want it to go. So maybe I'm going to personalize this with my recipient's favorite wine. I'm going to go to this Insert drop-down menu. Everything from email address down are fields from the mailing list, including custom fields. So you see I also have some Salesforce fields in there. I'm going to pull over the wine type field to personalize with my recipient's favorite wine. And now I can set up the default. So if I don't have everyone's favorite wine in my mailing list, I can put in what I want to fill it in with. So I'm going to say bubbly for this one. So now my email is going to say something like, Hi Bob, your favorite Chardonnay is on sale this week. If I don't have Bob's favorite wine in my list, instead of leaving a space in the middle of that sentence, it's going to say, Hi Bob, your favorite bubbly is on sale this week. So that makes it easy to add info for your recipients and personalize it for them and send the information they're looking for. We also have these social sharing buttons built into the templates, and this will allow your recipients to share their email that they get from you on their own social networks. So they can share your email on their Facebook page, putting your email in front of people who probably aren't already on your mailing list. So it really helps with your marketing, and it's a free way to spread the word about what's going on. Also, we're going to track the clicks on these buttons, so you're going to get a little insight into your recipients as well. You can find out the people who are really advocates for your company. Those are usually the people who are going to be most interested in sharing your email on a social network. So this is all built in, but you can turn them off if you want, but I recommend not because it gives you a lot of information. Once your email is ready to go ahead and click Next. The next page is a preview page. And there's two versions. Our system is automatically creating a text backup for your email. This is my graphical version. There's the picture of the painted ladies. Here's the text backup in case your recipient can't get the graphical version. At the bottom of the page, you need to send a test email. Now, you can set up different lists for your tests. I have a couple in here, and you can have up to 10 addresses on the list. These are test emails. Don't put your recipient's addresses here. What you're going to do here is have someone give you some feedback on how your email looks, and you're also going to test how it looks in an inbox. There's 2 emails sent at this point, a graphical version and a text version, and the subject line says test. So this is not meant for your recipients. They'll be confused. Once your email is sent out, then your recipients will get one email, whichever one that they're set up to get, probably the graphical one. On the next page, I get to select my list, and here's the one that I set up here. You can select as many lists from this page as you like. If you select more than one list, our system will automatically dedupe, so we'll pull out the duplicates so that your recipients only get one email from this step. The last step is the send step, and there's a couple things here. First of all, you get to schedule when you want your email to go out. The default is as soon as possible, but you can schedule your email to go out up to 4 months in advance. I like to click on the little calendar to schedule it. You can use the little drop downs or whatever you want to use. So I can schedule it to go out in October. You are also able to share your email on your own social platforms. So if you want to share it on your company page, you can do that. You can share it on your personal Facebook page, or both. You can also share it on Twitter. Now, all of these can be set up from this page. You just need to click the link account button, and that is going to bring up a separate window where you can authorize Vertical Response to post on your pages. And then you can come back here so you don't lose any information from this page. You're also able to set this up in the account information section up here in the top right corner. We have an integration with Google Analytics. So if you are using Google Analytics on your website, you'll be able to see Vertical Response in the traffic sources and then be able to see people leaving your emails and hitting your website. We're also going to talk about pricing here. So first of all, this is going to tell you how many people you're mailing to. I had a lot of duplicates on my list that I selected. In order to send an email, you need to have an email credit or credits. For every email address in your mailing list, you need 1 email credit. So it's kind of like putting a stamp on an envelope. My list has 227 addresses, so I need 227 credits to send it out. Now, credits are good for a year. So you can purchase them in bulk. The more you purchase, the lower the per email prices. And an email credit starts at 1.5 cents per email. 1.5 cents per credit. Since you guys are Salesforce users, if you have more than one person in your company doing Vertical Response emails, we can link your accounts to share the credits so you can do just one big bulk purchase. Also, if you are a nonprofit, a 501c3 nonprofit, we do have a special program for you, and we will give you 10,000 free email credits each month. You do need to fill in a form at our website. That is the only thing you have to do. It's the only string attached. Fill in a form. If everything looks good, we'll just automatically set those up on your account. If everything looks good on here, go ahead and click Send Email, and then it's going to go out. So let's go take a look at what the reporting looks like here on the VR stats, and then we'll go take a look at the leads and contacts. So first of all, this is kind of an overview of all the emails that you've sent out, and you get an idea of how your marketing is doing over here. You are able to update the statistics back to Salesforce from this page, and all you have to do is click this little button on the left-hand side. You can do one email. You can do all the emails. It's entirely up to you. We track stats for 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, we stop tracking them. So after 2 weeks, nothing will change, but you can still update them if you like. Just click the big blue Update Statistics button, and our system's going to send this data back into the leads and contacts in Salesforce. Now, if you click on the name of the email here, you're going to get all of the great stats that we provide. So first of all, this is an overall performance here. So you'll see the number of opens, clicks, bounces, and unsubscribes. We're going to show you how many times those social sharing buttons were clicked. We'll also show you the links that we're tracking and how many times they were clicked. And then at the bottom of the page is a comparison of recently sent emails. So you can see how your marketing is doing, where you're going really well, maybe some of the things you might want to change. Over here on the left in the email actions menu, if you click on download lists, this is where you get the specifics. This is where you can see who's opening the email, and you're going to see the time and date. Who's clicking on a link, the time and date. Same with the Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn buttons. You're also able to update just this one email from this menu. So if I click Update Salesforce, it's updating just this email that I've sent out. And you have one last chance of sharing your email on social media. So we pull in the subject line and then create a short URL, which is the hosted version of the email, and then that's what goes up. So let's go take a look. We've updated this back to Salesforce. Let's go see what it looks like in Salesforce. So under the leads, I'm going to pull up a lead here. First of all, this is the lead detail section. So when you're creating your list with a query, this is where we're pulling the data. Here is the email address. This is the email opt-out box. It's not checked, so this guy's mailable. Down here is where all the interesting stuff is. First of all, when you do the installation, we are going to add this custom object called VR Email History Lead. We also add one to the contacts. This is where you can see all your email info once you've updated and sent everything out. Sent everything out and updated, probably that order. You're going to see the name of your emails, and then you can see the actions that your recipients have taken. If they've opened, clicked, if their address bounced, unsubscribed, and you can even see the links that they clicked on. If you click on the name of the email in the VR email history, you're going to see the same data, but if you scroll down here, you can see the email that was sent. Now, all of this is in Salesforce. So this means that anybody who has access to this lead can see the information from the VR email history. They do not have to log into your VerticalResponse account to find this data. Now, I mentioned earlier, it depended on your list type where things were going to update, and that is where this comes into play now. So the first list that we created was a Salesforce mass email list. A Salesforce mass email list is going to update activity history. VR email history is also updated. So when you send your email, this information starts getting updated, and then when you click update, we will update the opens and clicks in that data in VR email history. So activity history, VR email history, if your list type is a Salesforce mass email list. If you use a campaign from Salesforce, it will update to campaign history. So you can see here I have my email. The status is going to show the last action your recipient took. So if they opened, that will say open. If they opened and then clicked on a link, opened will change to clicked. There's only one status here in the campaign history. So this is campaign again. So it will update to campaign history and VR email history. Spanish wine specials, Spanish wine special. So it'll update this information into two different places. So again, mass email list goes to these two fields. Campaign list goes to these two fields. So VR email history, no matter what your list type is, and then the list type will update to a specific part of Salesforce. So let's go take a look at contacts. They're the same, but we're going to take a look at them anyway. So again, contact detail section, this is the area that we're pulling the data for the query. Here's the email field, the email opt-out field, not checked. And then again down here, VR email history with the actions my recipient has taken. Again, activity history is updated for a mass email list. Campaign history for a campaign list. I know I said that a lot, but it gets confusing once you've sent your email out. I think a lot of times people choose to send a campaign and then they think they're going to see it in activity history, and that is not where it's going to show up. It's always in campaign history and VR email history. We also have some built-in reports. So if you want to run a report based on your VR email history, you can do that. And we're going to come in here. This is contacts who have opened. So these are reports that we automatically put in here once you do the installation. So here's the email. Here are all the people who opened. There's another email, all the people who opened. Now, this is a Salesforce campaign. I'm sorry, this is a Salesforce report. So you can do anything with this report that you would normally do with a report. So first of all, if you wanted to narrow this down to a specific date range, you could do that. You can also click on Customize as you would any report in Salesforce, and you can add additional filters here. So if you wanted to see people opening an email based on the company that they work at, you can add that filter in here. So anything you would normally do, I'm just going to show this really quickly. This is where you fill in your address and your company name, and then we pull that data in on that first step of the email setup. You can set up social sharing here if you don't want to do it on that last step. And analytics is where you get Google Analytics. So this is really all done by Google. You need to do all the stuff they tell you for Google Analytics. Once it's set up, you can come in here and add your domain that you put the code on, and then you'll start seeing Vertical Response. Also, as I said, there is a help site which has all kinds of text tutorials and videos, and that's always available to you. And at the bottom of all the pages on the VR tabs, there is this Need Help link, which will put you in touch with our support team. You can email them, you can give them a call, and there's also a link here to do a chat. So it's kind of like IMing with our support team.